ago, and then a good first half against Jacksonville last Sunday night on ESPN. Felt like they had a chance. They were starting to build some momentum and believe in what they do. Billy Joe gets hurt. Billy Joe Hobart comes into the game, and they basically laid an egg in the second half. Coach Ditka talked about how disgusting the defense played. Offensively, they didn't do anything. Now they come into this game without Ricky Williams, who probably they had hung their offense on and figured that he could carry them. Now they're coming in here. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle the adversity of an embarrassing second half, and then now without Ricky Williams.
Well, now's the time I think you learn about your players on this team, their character. With nothing to play for, and with a lot of changes that are probably going to take place, it's very difficult, I would think, for assistant coaches and marginal players not to think about where they're going to be next year and perhaps packing it in for this year. What kind of signs do you look for? If you're the coach of this football team, what do you look for in this team to figure out who you want to keep and who's available for other employment elsewhere?
Well, definitely you want the guys that are still out there swinging and fighting, but are they going to be your premier players? Usually the top guys are the ones that are going to keep things going. Not being at practice all week, it makes it very difficult for me to answer that question. You can kind of feel them. Everybody wants to come out and play on Sunday on game day. You could take all the people in this stands, ask them who wants to come out and play on Sunday. They'd all raise their hand. Now, how many of those people want to go out and work as hard as it takes to work during the week to prepare for a game? That's the difference. So you're wondering, of all the guys sitting on the sideline, who is prepared, who's worked, and it's definitely going to show up today. Motivational factor is fear, and I really believe that these guys are a little bit worried about being embarrassed in this game.
Well, there's every indication that could happen given the firepower of the Rams and how balanced they are. I think that's the thing that strikes me, is how balanced they are in their offense, how balanced they are between their offense and defense, and how balanced they are with their special teams. This is a team that you look at it, you really can't discern a weakness.
No, this is a team that has everything kind of going for them. And how did they get to this point? That's what the question is, and that's what the Saints want to use as their model for next year. This is a team that was in disarray. We talked about it in the pregame show. They were ready to revolt and to jump ship. Now, you couldn't beg these guys to leave St. Louis. They're so excited about being here. They've done it with luck. They've done it with skill. They've done it through coaching. So this is a well-rounded team, and, Coach Vermeil has got them coached up real well.
And they've done it with Kurt Warner, and what a great success story he is. As one of the Saint coaches was remarking to me down on the bench, you look at this Ram offense, they could have 3 NFL MVPs. Marshall Faulk, Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, they're all valuable, and they're all deserving of that sort of thing. But Kurt Warner, this would be like Jake Delhomme coming off the bench for the Saints this year and taking them to the Super Bowl. It'd be a very analogous situation.
No doubt about it. It's the same thing. This was Kurt Warner was basically a number 3 guy that they never even planned on using. And yet he comes into the season after injury, playing very well, has the confidence of his team around him. They all believe he can win.
Marshall Faulk, DeMarco Farr, Azahir Hakim, the 3 tri-captains sent out by the Rams for the toss of the coin. For the Saints, William Rofe is down there, Wayne Martin, Jerry Fontenot, Leroy Glover, and also Gerard Cherry. Our referee is Bill Carolla. Let's join him for the toss of the coin.
Tails is called. It is a head. St. Louis, you've won the toss. You're going to receive. Where do you? All right, swing around, please. You come over with me, Johnny. St. Louis has won the toss, and they've elected to receive. Good luck, men.
And so we'll get a very quick look at this high-powered St. Louis Rams offense, the number 1 offense in the NFL, as they'll return the opening kickoff of this game. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
Here Andre, weekday mornings 9 till 11, here on News Talk and Sports Radio 870 AM.
Let's take the Beta Springs Water Saints sideline report with Kenny Wilkerson. Kenny, get us started this afternoon.
All right, Stan, first of all, offensively, I think you're going to see Billy Joe Hobart try to utilize Scott Slutzker as much as he can early in the game and until Cleveland gets in, and then they'll try to do the same thing with him. Don't be surprised if you see quite a bit of activity out of Lamar Smith as well. Defensively, they've been derailing plans to go after Kurt Warner as much as possible in this game. Although whether they're going to have any success with that and whether they get gashed with Marshall Faulk, that will change things dramatically if that happens. Some of the things you were just talking about, Stan, this past week at practice, not very good. They've had to start things over several times. Very lackluster days out at the Saints facility. Privately, some of the players have told me this week that if Mike Ditka thinks some of the players are already looking forward to the holidays, what does he think is going to happen after he says something like that publicly? With that, I'm going to send it back upstairs to you guys.
Well, sometimes it's always darkest before the dawn, and you'd have to say this is one of the darker moments of the Saints season as they prepare to take on the Rams. A great sense of foreboding, but that's why they play the football game, and we'll see what unfolds here today. It'll be an early test for this Saints defense, and it'll be an early test for the special teams, because Tony Horn is back deep, and Tony Horn is averaging 36 yards per return, including a pair of touchdowns. And the Rams lead the NFL in kickoff return yardage, an average of 27.5. Doug Bryan puts his instep into the football. Horn's going to return it from the 7 to the 10 to the 15 to the 20, 25, 30. He's up to the 35, 40. Bryan misses him. It's a foot race down the near sideline into Saints territory. He's banged out of bounds just short of the New Orleans 30-yard line. Gerard Cherry bangs him out of bounds, and just like that, you have some evidence after a 62-yard return of how balanced and dangerous this St. Louis Rams team is.
Jim, last week against San Francisco chose to pooch kick. They did not want to kick the ball deep and have him bring it back, and this is exactly why, but that's well coached. The wedge gets him up inside. You have to have an 8-yard expansion between the wedge and the returner. Horn brings it up there, 63-yard return.
Officially, that's what it is. The Rams will begin with two wide receivers split out wide to the right. 1st and 10 from the New Orleans 31-yard line. Pump fake. Warner wants it all, throwing into the end zone, and it is incomplete. It was intended for Isaac Bruce. The coverage by Ashley Ambrose. Perhaps the ball could not have been brought in on the field of play. Let's check this Rams starting offensive lineup for you. Bruce and Azahir Hakeem at wide receiver. Roland Williams is the tight end. The offensive line, Pace, Newton, Grudadoria, Timmerman, and Miller up in front of Kurt Warner, with Marshall Faulk, the tailback, and Robert Holcomb, the fullback, the #1 offense in the NFL. 2nd and 10 from the New Orleans 30-yard line. Wideouts left and right, backs in an eye. Warner puts Bruce in motion and hands to his tailback Faulk straight ahead, lowers his helmet and his shoulder pads, and he's down to the 25-yard line, a pickup of 5. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Leroy Glover in on the stop. It's William Whitehead starting at left defensive end for the Saints today, up front along with Martin Glover and Smith. The linebackers are Keith Mitchell, Kevin Mitchell, and Mark Fields. Ambrose and Weary are the corners. Knight and Clay the safeties. 2nd and 5 from the New Orleans 25. Bruce split out wide to the right. It's Holt wide left. This is 3rd down, 3rd and 5. And now they move Faulk into the slot, and they go with 5 wide receivers, a vacant backfield. Warner guns it downfield to the goal line, and a touchdown. A touchdown to Torrey Holt, the #1 draft choice, and just like that, the Rams are on the scoreboard.
And you think you have them right where you want. St. Louis comes out, spreads the field, nobody in the backfield. That puts a linebacker on Marshall Faulk. But now you have Fred Weary covering on the corner. They're playing a zone defense. He just gets in behind the zone right there. Kurt Warner has great release, and everybody knows that he can throw that ball at 3 to 5 steps, and he can put it on the line.
Hands to the face, number 34 defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, touchdown.
Well, that can't be 34 on the defense. Ricky Williams wears number 34. He's on offense, and he's inactive. It was a zone coverage where Ambrose looked like he passed off the receiver to Clay, and Willie Clay's foot speed is not the greatest. He didn't get there in time.
No, has to get over there and cover it. Actually, Ambrose has to come out because Marshall Faulk's going to come right out into the flat. So Ambrose took his job. Willie Clay didn't get his done.
Jeff Wilkins adds the extra point, and just like that, the Rams are on the scoreboard. With 13:58 to play in the first quarter, it's St. Louis 7 and New Orleans nothing. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Tony Horn returns the opening kickoff 63 yards, and 3 plays later, 30 yards have been traversed in a minute and 2, and with a 25-yard strike from Warner to Holt, the Rams are on top 7-0. The Saints' Dino Filial returns the kickoff from his 3 to the 10 to the 15, running to the near side, looking for a block, cutting it up. He'll be dropped short of the 22-yard line. A 19-yard return. James Hodgins, a fullback by trade, in on the stop. And so on comes this New Orleans Saints offense that has its work cut out for it against the team in the St. Louis Rams that have the number 8 defense in the NFL, and the toughest team in the NFL to run against are these Rams, primarily for one reason, that oftentimes you're put into the posture of having to come from behind and throwing on every down, and the Saints already find themselves down 7-0. The Saints will open with Lamar Smith in the backfield and 3 wide receivers, one of them Hastings in motion. Hobert on first down is going to throw off play action, and he's going to throw deep down the far sideline for Poole. Poole coming back for the ball, can't bring it in at the 35-yard line. There was some good coverage downfield by Devin Bush, the former Atlanta Falcon, who plays at free safety now for these Rams, with Billy Jenkins, the strong safety. Poole, Kennison open at wide receiver, along with Hastings as the Saints open in a 3 wide receiver set. Rofe, Ackerman, Fontenot, Nioli, and Turley up in front of Billy Joe Hobert. The running back is Lamar Smith. Troy Davis is expected to see action today at fullback. So on 2nd and 10 from the 26, they'll pitch it to Smith, sweeping the left side, and he's up to about the 28-yard line. Give him 8 yards on the carry. And we check the St. Louis Rams defense, the front 4, all of whom had a sack last week against the 49ers. Carter, Agnew, DeMarco Farr, and Grant Windstrom. The linebackers are Mike A. Jones, who scored touchdowns in 2 straight games. Lorenzo Styles and Todd Collins. Todd Light and Dexter McLean are the cornerbacks. Bush and Jenkins the safeties. 3rd and 3 from the 28-yard line. Scoreboard hasn't been right yet. Hobert hands it off to Smith, and he is stopped for no gain, and the Saints will have to punt it away. Grant Windstrom on the tackle for the Rams, and the Saints are going to be 3 and out. And dropping deep, the dangerous Azahir Hakim. Again, we talked about the return game of the Rams in kickoff returns. Hakim is almost as dangerous as Horn is in kickoff returns and returning punts. He has an average of 12.8 per return and an 84-yard touchdown to his credit. Barnhart stands back inside his 15-yard line. Azahir Hakim awaits it at the 30-yard line down to our right. Barnhart has hit a dandy toward the near sideline. Hakim retreats to the 23 to bring it in. He's back to the 30, dancing around, breaks a tackle, swarmed over from behind, just short of the Ram 30-yard line. A 49-yard punt by Barnhart and a 7-yard return. 12-14 to play, quarter number 1. Rams lead the Saints 7-0. This is the New Orleans Saints radio network. For 25 yards, that's the touchdown to Torrey Holt. For Holt, his 3rd touchdown reception. For Warner, his 28th touchdown pass. Those 28 touchdown passes leading the NFL. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line of the Rams. 12-14 to play first quarter, and Warner to throw again, leading 7-0. Over the middle, Bruce slips the tackle of Fields across the 40 and hits the deck around the 43-yard line. That's a 14-yard pickup, right at his average. And Isaac Bruce brings in his 57th reception of the season. He's a guy who missed 15 games and most of 2 others over the last 2 seasons with a nagging hamstring injury. He and Dick Vermeil were at each other's throats all last season. This year they backed off, let him recover, and he's providing them with a Pro Bowl season. 1st and 10 for the Rams from their 44, 11:35 to play first quarter. Rams lead 7-0. 3 wide receivers and Marshall Faulk behind Warner. Saints are going to blitz, 3-step drop, throws to the near sideline, catch by Holt, out of bounds in front of Weary, up at the 48-yard line of the Rams. That's a 5-yard pickup.
But what you're going to see is Warner just taking the profit. He's just going back. Now the Saints switch up from that zone to man. They're playing zone the play before when Isaac Bruce gets into the middle of the field. Then they switch to man. So Warner just steps back, takes the little 3-step drop, throws the ball outside, takes a profit, moves the ball downfield. 2nd and a
long 4 from the 48 into Saints territory down to the New Orleans 48 is Marshall Faulk. Faulk will be just short of the first down. Willie Clay in on the stop. And Marshall Faulk, who's had 4 100-yard rushing games this season, 18 in his career, and he leads the NFL in yards from scrimmage. The Rams now, who are 1 for 1 in third down conversions, look at 3rd and 2 from the New Orleans 48. 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, and now they open things up and go to 1 back and 4 wide receivers with Bruce in motion. Here's all that motion we heard about. Warner can't find a receiver, and he's going to be sacked back at the 44-yard line by Whitehead. It was intended for Bruce, and I think Bruce fell down.
He slipped his shoe, Jim. When he's coming out of his cut, his shoe falls off, and now he can't make that out move to the sideline, and that's exactly what Kurt Warner was waiting for him. But Isaac Bruce has only got 1 shoe on, slips with the stocking foot out there on the field. We'll watch it on a replay. Kurt Warner never takes his eyes off him. That's who he wants to throw the ball to, but he just takes the ball, holds it because he sees what's happened, takes his sack, go ahead and punt.
Loss of 8 for Whitehead, his 3rd sack in 2 games as he starts at defensive end in place of Wilson. Kennison picks up the punt at the 12 on a hop, runs to the far sideline, turns it upfield. His flag goes down as he's pushed out of bounds as he crosses the 25-yard line after a 14-yard return.
Well, Eddie Kennison is in the back telling everybody to get away, and he's kind of waving his hands. I'm not sure that the officials aren't going to say that he called for a fair catch, but he had his hands down, waving everybody away. Let's see what they call.
Bill Carollo is the referee. The Rams were indicating holding against the Saints. Personal foul, face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, number 59 on the kicking team. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
That's London Fletcher, backup middle linebacker. So it does go against the Rams. And the Saints will have it when we return with 10:16 to play in the first quarter and trailing the Rams early 7-0. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. You look at this Rams team, Stan, how injury-free for the most part they've been. They're missing Keith Lyle at free safety, though he should be back soon with a shoulder injury. But you look at them offensively and defensively, they've really retained good health, apart from also the injury to Trent Green in preseason.
Winning helps a lot of that, and I'll get to that point after you call this play.
1st and 10 from the 42-yard line of the Saints. Split backs, Troy Davis and Lamar Smith. Handoff goes to Davis. Troy Davis is up to about the 45-yard line. A gain of about 3. Charlie Clemens was in on the stop, the linebacker, number 56. You know, you look at this Saints offense now in the absence of Ricky Williams, you're starting a fullback who's 5'7", 191. I was down in the locker room before the game, and he was going through that computer at warp speed trying to figure out the plays from the fullback position. So you got both your backs essentially playing out of the positions they've been in recently. 2nd and 7 from the New Orleans 45. They're going to pitch it to Lamar Smith, running right across the 45 into Ram territory, shedding tacklers. He's got an 8-yard pickup and what looks to be a first down. They will spot the football at the 48-yard line of the Rams, and Smith now has 3 carries for 16 yards.
Jimmy, you're talking about injuries earlier. It's kind of amazing if you look on Friday, like in the paper, and you go through the injury report. The teams that are winning, their report is very, very small. Those players want to be on the field. The teams that are losing are completely out of it. The injury list is very, very long, but similar to the Saints right now.
Saints trying to establish some ball control. Get back in this football game. They trailed early 7-0. 1st and 10 from the Ram 48. Hobart's 7-step drop, can't find anybody. Rolls right, throws it away as he's out of the pocket, chased by Farr and Wistrom. Hobart throws the football away, avoiding the sack. The Rams have 36 of those, 2nd in the NFL, only to Jacksonville. The Jaguars have 41.
Kyle Turley very lucky they're not getting a holding penalty. Kind of getting beat inside and gets back, rocked on his heels. Then he just reaches out and trips up. And I think it was Carter who's been having a great year. And Carter can put some pressure on it. Hasn't done it so far, but that's a key matchup for this game.
Carter with 11.5 sacks, leading the NFL. 2nd and 10 from the Ram 48. Hobart sets up the screen, can't find anybody to throw to, rolls to his right, throwing on the run to Kennison on the near sideline, and the former Ram wrestled down as he's inside the 40-yard line, and a flag has been thrown.
It looked like the Saints were trying to set up a screen to the other side, but the back never got out there for Hobart. But the linemen don't know it. They're kind of waiting for a goal call. And when it just doesn't time out right, I think that both Fontenot and Ackerman were downfield before the ball was thrown. That's what the officials are going to call. It makes it hard when that timing gets off. You're used to like a 3-count screen.
Ineligible player on the passing team, number 62, illegally downfield. 5-yard penalty, replay second down.
Left center Fontenot, first penalty on the Saints. You know, one thing that people have remarked about is that Billy Joe Hobart doesn't seem to be as comfortable throwing to his backs and throwing the dump-offs as Billy Joe Tolliver has in the last few weeks. Do you think that's accurate?
I think that, that could be accurate. I think he looks downfield so long that then the backs get covered up. But right there, the defense for the St. Louis had that screen read and snuffed out. No way he could throw that ball.
2nd and 15 from the St. 47. Play action. Hobart well protected. Guns it downfield, incomplete. Thrown at the feet of Andre Hastings. Hobart is 0 for 3. He was being covered, Hastings was, by Devin Bush.
Well, he's trying to throw the ball downfield, and I don't know why. He had good protection. He could step up and throw.
He has a word for Hastings as Hastings comes back to the huddle. Hastings didn't make much of an attempt for that ball, though it was thrown low.
You got to go down and get some of them. They're not all going to be perfect. Got to make up your mind that's my dadgum ball, and I'm going to go get it.
3rd and 15 from the 47, and the Rams figure to turn loose their pass rush here as the Saints go with 4 wide receivers. Rams have a stun on rush 4. Hobart has time, delivers the ball, and it is caught inside the 35-yard line by Hastings, and that'll be a first down with Andre Hastings coming back for a 17-yard reception, and that was a well-thrown football.
Yes, it was, and he's got good protection there. This is a defense that can get after you. You mentioned it earlier that everybody last week had a sack. Carter had 2. They can come after that quarterback. But like you said, they're normally used to playing against teams that are trying to come back, and you don't run the ball. You get back there and throw it every down, you're going to get some sacks. If the Saints can keep this going and just march down the field, eating some time, stick the ball in the end zone, could be an interesting ball game.
1st and 10 New Orleans from the Ram 35, 7:37 to play first quarter. Rams leading 7-0. The pitch goes to Smith to the left side, turns it upfield, and he'll have a pickup of a couple, perhaps 3 at most, as Mike Jones has him around the ankles.
But great block by Andre Hastings coming from the wide receiver position, coming back in motion to the line of scrimmage. He's got to take the big defensive end and get that corner started, and that's exactly what he does. Gets that play outside. Remember, we watched Willie Rolfe last week lead that same play down the sideline against Jacksonville. The Saints look like they're very comfortable right now with the situation that they're in.
It's a pickup of 2. It's 2nd and 8. From just inside the 33-yard line of the Rams. 2 wide receivers to the near side, 1 Kennison to the far. Slutzker in motion. Hobart play action, sets up the short pass to the near sideline to Slutzker. He drops the ball, and it's incomplete, covered by Billy Jenkins. Billy Jenkins, who had his first career interception against the Saints in the 98 opener. Now the strong safety on this team. Devin Bush replaces Keith Lyle, who's injured at free safety. Bush, you might recall, former Atlanta Falcon, picked up as an unrestricted free agent in the offseason.
St. Louis will come after you with those linebackers. They got good 4 defensive linemen that can put pressure on. Then they take the linebacker on the weak side and let him come as well. Billy Joe had to hurry that ball a little bit.
It's getting loud here on 3rd and 8 from the 33. Saints are 1 out of 2 in 3rd down conversions. They stack 3 wide receivers to the near side and 1 to the far. Hobart drops straight back. Going to throw under some duress. A wobbly pass is incomplete. Intended for Hastings, but Hobart was being hit as he delivered the football, and it's incomplete.
And Carter continues to put pressure on Kyle Turley. You got to start that fight at the line of scrimmage. He's not going to beat you with speed. He's going to beat you with moves and strength. And Kyle's just giving ground and giving ground and giving ground. He never does get a fight line established, like drawing a line in the sand. You got to tell him this is where we're going to start the fight. Make him spend his time at the line of scrimmage.
And Kevin Carter is shaken up and on his back on the Ram bench. A 51-yard field goal attempt upcoming by Doug Bryan, who hit a 52-yarder last week against the Jaguars, his longest of the season. This will be from the left hash mark. Barnhart puts it down. Bryan puts it up. He's got enough leg. He's got the distance. He's got the directions, and the Saints are on the scoreboard. With 6:37 to play in the first quarter, a 51-yard field goal by Doug Bryan cuts the Rams' lead to 7-3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Earlier, Tony Horn being so successful in the National Football League, returning kicks, but it all starts with that wedge. So they get that thing set up the way they want it. They got a defensive lineman, an offensive lineman, and a linebacker getting that wedge started. Tony Horn hitting it right up behind him. Watch and see if he doesn't space this thing at about 8 yards when he gets the ball.
And the Saints are going to line drive this one. Horn's going to pick it up at the 14-yard line to the 20, to the 25, to the 30, and Gerard Cherry collars him short of the 35-yard line, and 3 flags have been thrown on the return by Horn. A 19-yard return, holding as the initial indication against the Rams.
Well, that's one way to take him out of it. Just pooch it down. That's what the 49ers did last week.
You know, that shows you what great respect they have for him, because
Holding 57 on the kick return team during the run back. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Wade Ritchie has one of the strongest kickoff legs in the NFL for the 49ers.
No doubt about it. Jim, here's the Napa $25,000 kickoff for cash NFL scoreboard. These are all first quarter scores. The Patriots and the Bills are tied at 0. San Diego leads Vikings 7-0. Arizona over to the Giants 3-0. The Ravens over the Jaguars 7-0. Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh 14-0. Tennessee over Cleveland 7-0. And Washington Redskins 3-0 over the Eagles. Those are all first quarter scores.
1st and 10 for the Rams from their 17-yard line. They put the tight end Williams in motion, pitch it to Falk left side. Fields drags him down around the 19-yard line or so after a 2-yard gain. Marshall Falk, who is so dangerous, just not as a running back, but perhaps even more so as a receiver. 53 receptions coming into this game and leading the NFL in yards after the catch.
Well, he's something else. And the troubles that they had with him in Indianapolis, they have not happened here. But again, winning cures a lot of those inside problems.
He has 3 carries for 11 yards. It's 2nd and 8 from the Ram 19. Warner puts Bruce in motion. 2 wide receivers to the right side. Half rollout by Warner, throwing on the run at the feet of Bruce. It's incomplete. And this is the kind of offense that we were led to believe we'd be seeing, and that's with a lot of different sets, a lot of different formations, and a lot of motion. It's got to be very confusing for a defense to play against this Ram offense.
Especially when you have a defense that finished the second half like the Saints did last week. You know, Coach Ditka got on him and said he was embarrassed by this group. So they're coming out and trying to mix it up. They tried to play zone early, got smoked on it early for a touchdown, went back to man. Now they're trying to get a little pressure on him with some blitzes.
Chris Thomas checks in as the Rams will employ 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 8 from the St. Louis 19. 3-step drop. Warner guns it out to the far side to Azahir Hakim, but he is brought down immediately by Gerard Cherry, well short of the first down. That's a 5-yard reception by Hakim, and his 23rd of the season, and the Rams will have to punt it away.
Pretty good pressure there by Sammy Knight and Brady Smith, both coming in and getting some pressure. Now they're bringing it right up the middle. This is a huge offensive line, Jim. I mean, huge. Orlando Pace is 320 pounds. Newton, 300. Centers are 300. Fred Miller, the other tackle, he's 6'7", 320 pounds. It's a huge line.
Mike Horan hangs it high. The former Ram, Eddie Kennison, calls for and makes the fair catch. Now he's dropped it but falls on it back at the 30-yard line. Eddie Kennison, whose name evokes boos here on his return to the Trans World Dome. It evoked boos here the last couple of years when he was a member of the Blue and Gold, and a derisive cheer as Kennison heads back to the Saints huddle. A timeout on the field here in the first quarter with 4:59 to play, and the Saints trailing the Rams by a score of 7-3. This is Brock, Jim Henderson. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
This is 870 AM, your radio station for the most news, the best talk, the Saints, and Mike Ditka.
First and 10 New Orleans from their 30. Hastings in motion in a 3 wide receiver set. Hobert with a lot of time throws underneath and a short pass to Kennison. He's collared immediately after a 4-yard pickup brought down by Tagee Allen, an extra defensive back in the secondary. And Kevin Carter's injury was not a lasting one, Stan. He's back in there at left defensive end.
He's a heck of a ball player. He looked like he had a stinger. He got kind of wrapped up in there in his last pressure and had a bunch of people fall in the back of him. And had him over on the sideline, did a little adjustment. They got him back out on the field.
He's had 7.5 sacks in his last 3 games. 2nd and 6 for New Orleans from their 34. Hastings in motion, 4 wide receivers set. They're going to blitz Hobart. He throws it on a quick slant to Hastings, a diving reception at the 40-yard line. And it looks like he will be just short of the first down, depending on the spot of the football. And looks to be short, although the officials are looking at the sticks and trying to eyeball it and may call for a measurement here. Looks like that's exactly what they'll do.
Well, this is a nice job by Kyle Turley picking up the inside blitz, and then it's a nice job by the quarterback and the receivers understanding that the blitz is coming. They just have to throw that quick slant inside. So the communication seems to be pretty good right here. And that was a nice read by Billy Joe and a nice completed pass. This place gets loud, Jim. I never played in this stadium, but it's very loud up here in the booth, and it affects you as a player down on the field.
About 5 inches short of the first down are the Saints. Hastings has caught a pair for 24 yards, and it'll be 3rd and very short for New Orleans. Saints will go with 3 wide receivers and Lamar Smith behind Hobart. Hastings goes in motion. Hobart is going to sneak it, does have the first down, and does not have another neck injury. All of which are positive things if you're a New Orleans Saints fan.
A very nice job by Jerry Fontenot. They're going to double up, put both tackles, one on each shoulder. Jerry Fontenot, he's got to snap that ball, get the block started. He does a nice job right there. That's a very difficult position to play, and Jerry Fontenot's done a nice job this season playing that center position. Anytime you got to start with one hand where it's not supposed to be, it makes it very difficult.
1st and 10 for New Orleans as they convert in 3rd and short from the New Orleans 41-yard line. Play action. Hobart runs up in the pocket, hit, scrambles away for a moment, and then is dropped by DeMarco Farr for the sack. Not much of a loss on the play, perhaps a yard or 2, but DeMarco Farr picks up his 6th sack. And for the Rams, their 37th of the season.
It kills you as an offensive lineman. Chris Naoli does a nice job, jams him right at the line of scrimmage, gets him out, actually makes him quit, and he gets him spun back around. Naoli's in perfect position, and then when your quarterback takes off and runs up in front, DeMarco Farr makes the sack and then gets his big high sign. That's very irritating for offensive linemen.
That used to irritate you, did it?
You know it.
2nd and 11 from the 40. Hobart hit from the blind side, but delivers the football, and the catch is made down at the 31-yard line by Hastings.
And he's down.
In traffic, and Billy Joe Hobart on his hands and knees is slowly getting to his feet back at the Saint 30-yard line and running up to the huddle after the completion of 29 yards to Andre Hastings down to the Ram 31.
Well, the St. Louis coming in, they're just running a stunt, and Carter kind of gets in there and gets him down, but then when he takes him, he pulls him on down to the ground. But I'll tell you what, Billy Joe's standing in that pocket. He threw a dart on there, and he knew he was going to get hit. But anytime you have a defensive lineman right in your face, you can't follow through normal, so he put a little extra on it. That was a great throw by Billy Joe.
Ziggy Allen went for the interception, didn't get it. 1st and 10 New Orleans from the Ram 31. We're in the final minute and 45 of the first quarter, and the Saints are going to have to take a timeout now with the play clock winding down.
Delay.
And they didn't take the timeout before.
5-yard penalty, first down.
The play clock ran out, and so a 5-yard mark off against the Saints, and disgust shown by Billy Joe Hobart in the huddle, and Tom Clemens and Mike Ditka on the far sideline.
Yeah, you don't know if the play didn't come in time, if it came in with the ball presumed on the other hash, where the quarterback's got to change the formation around. But Billy Joe was disgusted when he snapped the ball. 1:30 to go in the quarter. He wants things to click here. You don't need to be 1st and 15, not against this team.
Which they are from the Ram 36. Hastings in motion, 3 wide receivers, 2 to the near side. Play action Hobart under duress and down. Drop back at the 45-yard line. DeMarco Farr with his 2nd sack of the series and his 7th of the season.
Well, they're coming right over Ackerman and Willie Rope, and we'll see it on the replay if they ran a stunt. But the ball's coming right up the middle. Tom Ackerman's doing a nice job being in there for the injured Wally Williams. Now it's just a straight rush. I'll tell you what happens is the back picks him. The back's trying to get out and sneak out of there, and when Tom gets kind of turned around there, the back picks him and lets DeMarco come up there for the sack. Now you're in real deep.
Yeah, you're 2nd and 24 from the Ram 45. 4 wide receivers, 1 back, 3-step drop, quick hitch to Henderson near sideline, turns it upfield, driven out of bounds short of the 35-yard line, a 9-yard pickup.
A smart play by Billy Joe and Henderson. Just take the yardage that you can get instead of being 3rd and 24. Now just move the sticks up a little bit, because you don't have very many plays in your playbook for 3rd and 24. You don't have many for 3rd and 15. But that's where they are right now. You just got to be a little bit better. So heads up play, good protection.
Eddie Henderson, whose problem with drops here led to his ouster from the Rams. He's become the number 1 receiver for the Saints. 3rd and 15 from the 36. Hobert, short set, dumps it over the middle to Hastings, slips a tackle inside the 25, down to about the 24-yard line, short of the first down, but in makeable field goal territory for Doug Bryan. A 12-yard pickup, as Andre Hastings is enjoying a good first half, a good first quarter.
They're coming out here and throwing that quick step. Anytime that the line's just going to set and cut, you know that was a planned play, and exactly what happened there. Just playing for Doug Bryan to kick a field goal.
The Saints are 0-5 on the season, trailing after the first quarter. They're trailing after this quarter, though moving by a score of 7-3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. After an ignominious start, the Saints exercising ball control throughout most of the first quarter, snapping it 20 times to the Rams' 10. Billy Joe Hobert taking good care of the football, completing 6 of 11 for 78 yards, suffering a pair of sacks. Hastings caught 4 for 65, and Henderson 2 for 13. This will be a 42-yard field goal attempt by Bryan, who hit from 51 in the first quarter. On the first play of the second quarter, the 42-yarder is up and good. And the Saints have climbed within a point on a pair of Doug Bryan field goals. It's the Rams 7 and the Saints 6.
Jim, it's amazing how Doug Bryan has changed. We talked about him earlier in the season, how he was lacking the confidence going back to the preseason game, remember, in Nashville against the Tennessee Titans, and he struggled there, and then he struggled at the beginning of the season. In fact, remember in Chicago, they didn't even bring him out on a field goal to have an opportunity to kick. But in the last couple of weeks, he's really been playing a lot better. Doug Bryan, I don't know if his confidence is back. He feels good about it, but definitely the coaches have confidence in him.
Yeah, and he missed that short one on his last attempt last week in Jacksonville from 32 yards, but he shook that off and came right back today with a 51-yarder that could have been good for 60.
Yeah, that's right. He had a lot of leg. Let's take this time to get caught up on the scores. The Napa $25,000 kickoff for cash scoreboard. Baltimore, Jim, now leading Jacksonville 10-0 in the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, Buffalo 3-0 over the Patriots. Tennessee 7-0 over Cleveland. San Diego 7-0 over Minnesota. Arizona beating the Giants 3-0 in the first. Cincinnati now beating Pittsburgh 14-3 in the first quarter. And at the end of the first quarter, Washington is beating Philadelphia 3-0.
Saints have a pair of 9-play scoring drives. The first that resulted in the 51-yarder, the second that resulted in the 42. Bryan's going to kick this one away to Horn. It's a high, good kickoff that drives him back to the Ram 4. Back to the 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, up to the 40, and pushed out of bounds short of the 45-yard line. And the Saints continue to search for ways to stop Tony Horn. That's a 41-yard return.
Well, you question what they're doing. The first one, he has a huge 63-yard return. Then they squib the ball to Horn, and he doesn't get much of a return at all. Now they're going to kick it deep. Did they think that they're going to outsmart him? I tell you what, the wedge that they get going up inside of there, they get him lined up, and Horn uses his blocking perfectly, runs down the sideline.
That's a serious wedgie that the Rams have going.
Yes, it is. They got some full-grown men on that wedge.
Yes, they do. 1st and 10 for the Rams from the St. Louis 45-yard line. They lead the Saints 7-6, but have sputtered offensively through much of the first quarter. Bruce in motion. Tailback Falk. He's chopped down immediately by Leroy Glover. No gain on the play. Leroy Glover is probably going to see double teams the rest of the way, as he has through much of this year. He's been by far the Saints' most consistent defensive lineman. You don't hear a whole lot about him because he gets so much attention.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Early in the year, at the end of last year, he was making plays. He did here, in fact. Remember, I think he had a big play here last year at the beginning of the season. They're doubling him. It just means that Wayne Martin and Brady Smith and the other guys have to step up and get it done.
2nd and 10 from the 45 with a flag down. Falk sifts through traffic into Saints territory down to about the 47-yard line, but a flag was thrown, and it's going to be offsides against New Orleans. So the Rams will probably take the play here. Leroy Glover on the stop. Well, Kurt Warner, talking to the people here in St. Louis, he's a great story.
30, lined up in the neutral zone. On the defense, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
And he's also a wonderful guy.
Second down.
Well, he's done a lot for the Arena Football League and led to its credibility. Now you see the NFL started to look at that a little bit more seriously and start taking players out of there. That's all you hear here is he's doing so well because he's used to Arena football.
And they've got another one on the team, and Paul Justin, the backup quarterback, spent time in the Arena League.
Yes, he did with Arizona Rattlers.
2nd and 5 from just inside Saints territory. Play action. Warner trying to throw it, and it's going to be tipped up in the air and incomplete. Austin Robbins had a shot at that football along the line of scrimmage. So too did Brady Smith, as the Saints were able to get a hand up in front of the Warner aerial.
Well, you watch this now. The Saints, they're surprising. You know, I really didn't think the Saints were going to play this well, especially with the first drive when Warner comes out, 3 plays, sticks him in the end zone. But this is a group of guys that have played hard the whole season. I just thought they're going to be outmanned and outmatched. So far in this game, they've answered everything that St. Louis has brought to them, and it seems like they're putting pressure on Falk as well as Warner.
3rd and 5. From midfield, Rams 1 out of 3. Warner under pressure is going to be sacked by Mitchell all the way back inside the Ram 40-yard line as he is swarmed over by Keith Mitchell. Just Mitchell's 2nd sack of the year.
Well, Keith Mitchell is going to get credit for it, but what happens is they're having to double-team the players. The offensive line's coming in there, and they're double-teaming Brady Smith. They're double-teaming down on Leroy Glover, and there comes... I'll tell you what, their left guard just completely misses him. Mitchell's going to get credit, but it's because Leroy Glover's doing such a great job at the center, over the center.
40-year-old Mike Horan, the oldest punter in NFL history, puts his left foot into it, hangs it high. Kennison calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 20-yard line. A 39-yard punt with no return. A timeout on the field. 13-17 to play quarter number 2. Rams on top of the Saints narrowly, 7-6. This is the New Orleans Saints radio network. 4 plays, 3 plays, and 3 plays, though that first 3-play drive resulted in a touchdown. The only one to date. Rams leading 7-6. 1st and 10 New Orleans from their 20-yard line. Cleveland in the game, goes in motion. Pitch it to Smith. They run the reverse to Kennison. He's got a blocker. Kennison's up to the 25-yard line, to the 30. Pushed out of bounds, short of the 35-yard line, in front of the Ram bench.
The blocker was Billy Joe Tolliver. He should get his... Or Billy Joe Hobart, he should get his head out of there. That head and neck area is kind of sensitive. Watch him on this replay when he hands off the reverse. Billy Joe just kind of hangs around there and waits and comes up. Instead of staying tall, he actually literally throws his head in there and blocks. That's what you got linemen for, Billy Joe. Get out of there.
Yeah, he was doing that. You're exactly right. Putting himself at risk again. One of the things you love about the guy, but you also want him to be smart. A 15-yard gain, the first down for New Orleans as Kennison silences some of his Ram critics. Running the reverse on the handoff from Smith. 3-step drop. Hobart pulls it down, throws it quickly, and the catch is made by Kennison beyond the 40-yard line. Give him 7 yards on the reception by Eddie Kennison. Mike Jones in on the stop. Officially a 6-yard gain for Kennison.
Well, the Saints have been mixing it up. They said they would. Go with 3 receivers, 2 backs. Go with 4 receivers, a single back. Now they have 2 tight ends in there. Both Slutzker and Cam Cleveland in the ball game. Single back, 2 wide receivers. They're spreading this thing out, trying to figure out what the Rams are going to do with this formation.
Kennison's caught 3 for 19. 2nd and 4 from the 41. Handoff Lamar Smith. Left side, not much. Maybe a yard, 2 at most. With Jeff Scanina in on the stop, the 7-year man out of Purdue, backup defensive tackle.
Well, they have DeMarco Farr over on the bench. I don't know what they're looking at. It looks like they're, like maybe he had pulled a quad muscle. It looks like they're trying to stretch out that front muscle on his left leg. He's a heck of a football player. Already has 2 sacks in this game. They need to take advantage of him now, the fact that he's not in there.
Saints are 2 out of 5 in 3rd down conversions. This is 3rd and 3 from the New Orleans 42. Hastings in motion. Back split behind Hobart, who drops straight back, throws over the middle. Smith brings it in, has the first down and more. Into Ram territory, inside the 40, inside the 35, down to about the 33-yard line. And he's brought down by Billy Jenkins, but not before He picks up a big gainer of 26 yards for New Orleans.
Well, there was some confusion in there on the part of the Rams, not knowing exactly where everybody is. And I tell you what, they bring him out of the backfield throwing the ball. He can make some moves. He does a nice job right there. Owner, you got to help me with a name. Tajee Allen is kind of limping off the field. He banged his knee pretty good right there. DeMarco Farr still on the ground, and now you have Allen on the sideline. Saints need advantage.
1st and 10 from the 32 of the Rams. Hobart's going to throw it out to the far sideline. A short pass for Troy Davis is incomplete. He was split out as a wide receiver, bringing Mike Jones, the linebacker, out with him. And I always wonder about that. I recognize the fact that you want to move the linebackers out of the middle of the field, but why throw it to the guy who's probably got the worst hands of anybody in there as a potential receiver?
Well, you're kind of hoping that the cover guy is the worst guy covering, as the linebacker can't cover. I know that Billy Joe was upset with that effort. Didn't throw it real well.
8 out of 14 for over 100 yards for Billy Joe Hobart. He looks at 2nd and 10 from the Ram 32. 10.5 minutes to play, second quarter. Saints trail 7-6. Smith bangs straight ahead for 2 at most, stacked up short of the 30-yard line. Brought down by London Fletcher, the linebacker. Second-year man out of John Carroll. Officially, it's a 1-yard gain for Lamar Smith, who came in with an average of 3.6 yards per carry. Ricky Williams was only averaging 3.8 himself. And the Saints made a very wise move in not allowing Williams to be active today. That guy's got far too big a career ahead of him to risk in this sort of situation. 3rd and 9 for New Orleans from the 31. Hobart, short set, dumps it off to Smith in the flat, brought down by Fletcher short of the first down. Keeping it out of the Rams' hands offensively, and hopefully putting points on the board again with the foot of Doug Bryant. Should he be successful here, the Saints would have their first lead of the day.
Well, and they're keeping that powerful Rams offense on the bench, actually eating a lot of clock as the clock's running now to 9:20 in the second quarter.
From the left hash mark, it'll be a 45-yard attempt by Bryant, who's hit from 51 and 42. Snap is back to Barnhart. Placement is down. Kick is up. Got the direction and the distance, and that's another field goal for Bryant, his 3rd of the first half, and the Saints take the lead for the first time today with 9:08 to play in the second quarter. Our score is New Orleans 9 and St. Louis 7. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. 9-7. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
This is News Talk and Sports Radio 870 AM, the radio home of Dr. Laura and the Saints.
Bryan squibs it downfield to the 10-yard line where the dangerous Horn picks it up. He's across the 30, slips a tackle. He's across the 40, the 45, into Saints territory to the 49-yard line with a 42-yard return. This guy has just been pure poison for the Saints special teams in the first half here today. And Bobby April shakes his head in disgust. He's had no answers for the returns of Tony Horn in the first half. A timeout on the field with 8:55 to play in the second quarter, and the Saints leading by a score of 9-7. This is the New Orleans.
Jim, here's the Napa $25,000 kickoff for cash NFL scoreboard update. And now that I got that read, I'll get these scores right after you call this play.
1st and 10 for the Rams from the New Orleans 49-yard line. 8:55 to play second quarter. Saints lead 9-7. Warner to throw on first down. Looks over the secondary. Going to throw it deep for Bruce, and it's incomplete, and a flag will be thrown. Down in single coverage was Ashley Ambrose.
Got to be offense, Jim.
It's going to be a push against New Orleans.
I think this is a horrible call because Ashley Ambrose is turning and making the play on Isaac Bruce. He's got position.
Interference, 43, defense. First down at the 12-5.
We're going to watch it on instant replay here, but Ashley Ambrose is in good position. He makes a turn. He sticks his arm out okay, but I think that's a horrible call. Should have been a no call. If any, it should have never been a call. There's nothing there.
Without question, Ambrose had position.
Yes, he did. And he turns to the ball and tries to make the play. That's a horrible call.
And it'll give the Rams a first down at the New Orleans 14-yard line, a 37-yard penalty. On first down, play action, rolling to his right as Warner sets up, delivers, incomplete. short of the intended receiver Holt, who was about 7 yards deep in the end zone. The ball was thrown about 5 yards in front of him. And there's a Saint shaken up on the play, and that's Austin Robbins, who's being looked at the 20-yard line. You have time to go through those scores now.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much for letting me find them.
Yep.
These are all second quarter scores, Jim. Baltimore now over Jacksonville 10-7. Buffalo 3-0 over the New England Patriots. Tennessee 7, Cleveland 0. San Diego is tied with Minnesota at 7 in second quarter. Arizona 3-0 over the Giants. Cincinnati 21-3 over Pittsburgh. And Washington now leads Philadelphia 10-0.
They're looking at Robbins' left knee, and in the break, Mike Ditka giving side judge Larry Rose a piece of his mind and continuing to give him a piece of his mind over what looked to be a horrible interference call against Ashley Ambrose.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. That's a bad call.
And, I really think that's a situation. There's where you need the college rule. You need a 15-yard penalty. If it is interference, it's not flagrant, the ball probably wasn't catchable, make it a 15-yard penalty. Don't give them a penalty like that on a ball that wasn't going to be caught anyway, and it was a very, very nebulous call on the part of the officials.
Does nebulous mean stupid?
Something like that.
Okay, good.
We look back now to the returns of Tony Horn. 62, 41, and 41 yards on the return by Tony Horn, the first that set up the touchdown, and the Saints have squipped the ball to him, and they've kicked it away to him, and maybe they ought to just start kicking it out of bounds.
At least you just give it out to the 40. Yeah, they've been trying to change it up a little bit. Kicked it deep to him. He had a huge 63-yard return. Squibbed it to him and stuffed him one time. Then kicked it deep to him again. He gets a big return. Then they squibbed to him the last time. Well, maybe the Saints can just win this game 9-7, and they don't have to kick to him anymore.
Robbins limps off. Ambrose gives the side judge a piece of his mind as well, and has to be ushered back to the Saints huddle. 2nd and 10 from the New Orleans 14. 3 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Warner throwing, incomplete, intended for Hakeem, and thrown behind him. And there's a Ram offensive lineman slow to get up. That's the center, Mike Grudadoria.
He's slow to get up because Leroy Glover picked him up and slammed him to the ground.
Warner has missed on his last 4 attempts, and apart from that first drive, he has not looked sharp.
No, he hasn't. He's thrown some balls that are not catchable balls. Expected a little bit more out of him than what we've seen right there. His weapons, some of the guys aren't making the catches. I wonder if they have a little bit of a letdown right here.
1 for 4 on 3rd down. They look at 3rd down here from the 14. Warner throws it for Falk inside the 5. It's going to be 1st and goal for the Rams, and he's such a dangerous receiver over the middle is Marshall Falk.
Yeah, especially when you don't take a linebacker and match him up with him. There was nobody covering Marshall Falk running straight down the field. A little mixed up in the man coverage. Falk starts up, lined up directly behind the right tackle, and he just takes off and goes right down the hash marks, wide open. And Cherry makes the tackle, but you got to cover him up. You know he's going for the sticks and the 1st down.
1st and goal for the Rams from the New Orleans 3-yard line. They trail 9-7, just over 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Warner hands it off to Falk. Falk bangs straight ahead to the goal line. Did he break the plane? No indication as yet. Apparently he's short. A 2-yard gain will bring up 2nd and goal from the 1. Willie Clay in on the stop. And the ball rests, let's say about 6 inches away from the goal line.
50 reporting to an eligible position. 5
Ryan Tucker, who is a center, checks in as another tight end. 2nd and goal from inside the 1. Falk again, right side this time, standing up for the touchdown.
A huge offensive line for St. Louis, just rolling off for the ball. Leroy Glover, the play before, got caught a little bit high. They double-teamed him back into the end zone right there. They run it over to the right-hand side. Just a huge offensive line. Get down in there low, just start crab crawling. Marshall Falk doesn't need much to stick it in the end zone.
Marshall Falk with his 4th touchdown of the season. A 1-yard dive, and the Rams are going to keep that offense on there and go for 2. Now they've attempted 2-point conversions just once so far this season, and it was a throw to Isaac Bruce that allowed them to be successful. Bruce is going to be split out wide to the right as part of a 3 wide receiver set to the right. 1 wide receiver Holt to the left. Falk the lone set back behind Warner. Warner.
Saints called timeout. They weren't ready, Jim. They were all sitting there arguing about how they're going to take care of that bunch offense when they take 3 receivers and just bunch them right together near the line of scramble.
Timeout, New Orleans. That's the team's first charge timeout.
It looks like they only had 10 guys on the field. Ashley Ambrose looks over and sees it and calls for timeout. They're definitely miscommunication because you can see the 3 wide receivers in the bunch attack, and they didn't have enough defensive backs to cover it. Ashley Ambrose sees it and calls for timeout.
That's definitely a mismatch when you only have 10 guys out there.
Especially against this group. I think it kind of makes it even for last week, Jim, when they had 12 out there last week, so if they go out there with 10, then I think they'll even it all up, wouldn't it?
I think it would. On an average basis, you're right.
It doesn't help you much in the win-loss column, but this is a situation that you don't need St. Louis. They don't need any more confidence than they already have, and this whole by what we think is a poor call by the officials, some pass interference on Ashley Ambrose.
Same formation for the Rams as they attempt a 2-point conversion. Handoff Falk straight ahead, fights to the goal line, and on his second effort, cracks the plane for 2 points.
Oh, they hit him about 1.5 yards deep, and Marshall Falk just kept those legs driving, and he took a group of 3 into the end zone, make a 2-point conversion good.
He scores the touchdown, he scores the 2-point conversion. And the Rams back on top with 7:15 to play in quarter number 2. Our score's now the Rams 15 and the Saints 9. This is the New Orleans Saints radio network. Well, the returns of Tony Horn setting up a pair of short touchdown drives by the Rams. The first 3 plays, this one 5 plays, 49 yards and 440. Falk with the 1-yard touchdown and the 2-point conversion. The drive aided greatly by the very controversial 37-yard interference call against Ambrose that put the football at the 14-yard line. 2 yards deep in his end zone. It's going to be Filial returning across the 20, across the 25, and stacked up just short of the 30. A 32-yard return for Dino Filial. Charlie Clemens in on the stop.
Well, the field goals have been nice, and it's kept the Saints in this ballgame. They need to put a drive together now. 7:05 to go in the second quarter. Put a drive together, go down, stick one in the end zone, both for their confidence and to take a little bit of the steam away from the momentum that St. Louis has building right now.
1st and 10 New Orleans from their 30-yard line. 4 wide receivers and Lamar Smith behind Billy Joe Hobart. Hobart drops 5 steps. Throws near sideline, catch is made, inbounds are out of bounds by Keith Poole, couldn't keep both feet in, covered by Dexter McLean on the near sideline in front of the Ram bench. And Hobart has been sacked a pair of times in the first half by DeMarco Farr, and he's been hit a few more times and pressured pretty steadily throughout. He was under some pressure there as he delivered the football. 2nd and 10 for New Orleans from their 30-yard line. Same formation. Hobart hands it off on the delay to Lamar Smith across the 35 up to the 36-yard line. Credit him with a 6-yard gain. And the stop is made by the veteran defensive tackle Ray Agnew. Smith has carried 7 times for 26 yards unofficially.
Remember Ray Agnew up with the New England Patriots. Quite a player up there. Came in here, one of the acquisitions, and bring a little bit of leadership under this defense that struggled so much last year.
Saints are 3 out of 7 in third down conversions. This is 3rd and 4 from the New Orleans 36. Hastings in motion, 4 wide receivers set. Hobart drops, looks, pulls it down, throws it behind Smith, and it's incomplete. Rams thought they had an interception with McLean, but he picked it up on a hop.
Well, he's trying to get that ball out there, but I couldn't tell if it was a corner rush or if the Saints just slid the protection and left the defensive end out there, but somebody was coming clean off of the right-hand side there. That was the corner, and he's coming in there. Billy Joe knows he has to throw the ball. He can't really get it. Todd Light coming in there, wrapping him up. Can't really get his step and throw, get that ball out there.
Azahir Hakim awaits the Barnhart punt at the Ram 25. Rams with a return on. Barnhart hangs it high. Hakeem calls for and makes the fair catch at the Ram 25-yard line, a 39-yard punt with no return. We have 6:10 to play in the second quarter, and the Saints trailing 15-9, exercising ball control for the most part. The Rams' return game has certainly hurt the Saints, and Warner has been efficient, though not spectacular.
He hasn't been playing very well. Well, Tommy Barnhart's doing exactly what the Saints had hoped for. He's hanging that ball high. Actually, he's getting a little bit more distance on the kicks as of late, and it's allowing the Saints to get down there and cover it. He's always had good hang time. Now his distance is starting to pick up.
The Saints trail in this series 32-26, though they swept the Rams a year ago. Backs in an eye. Tailback Falk gets the carry, breaks it outside to the left, cuts it back against the grain. Brought down as he crosses the 30-yard line after about an 8-yard gain. Brought down by William Whitehead, who got the start today in place of Troy Wilson, who's a little banged up at left defensive end, and Jared Tomich not dressed today with a lingering ankle injury.
Talked to Jared Tomich before the game, and he's going to have that thing looked at. Doesn't know if he'll make it back at all.
Officially a 7-yard gain. It's 2nd and 3 from the Ram 32. They reset, put their backs in an eye, and now send Falk out of the backfield to the left. Give it off to the fullback. Holcomb, his first carry, big opening as he surges beyond the 45-yard line of the Rams for a first down. The first carry of the day for Robert Holcomb as the Rams go to a new formation and find a crevice in that defensive line for a 15-yard gain. Robert Holcomb, the second-year man out of Illinois, the all-time leading rusher in Illinois history.
The Saints end up with 3 people all in the same gap, the wrong hole over on the right-hand side. And Holcomb busts that thing back over to the offensive right-hand side. Nobody there. You can't have 3 guys. This is gap defense. Everybody has a responsibility.
1st and 10 from the 47-yard line, and the Rams go with 4 wide receivers stacked to the left. Warner looks to the short side of the field, can't find anybody. Now he's scrambling. Will be a 35-yard attempt, and the Saints, who had been guilty of so much clock mismanagement at the end of halves and end of games this season, very efficient 2-minute drill here that they hope results in points. Bryan's effort is up, and it is good, and Doug Bryan's 4th field goal of the first half with 7 seconds remaining cuts further into the Ram lead. It is now 15-12.
But now the Saints have to do a kickoff, which has hurt the Saints. The Rams have had the ability to have huge returns so far, setting everything up, and you know that's exactly what they're talking about. They feel like they can take that ball and run it and possibly break one. And that's what Ditka's over on the sideline reminding every one of them. He's out in the middle of that huddle saying, we're kicking and covering. Hopefully they squib this thing.
Another 9-yard drive for the Saints. 3 of their 9-play drive for the Saints. 3 of their 4 drives have been for 9 plays. This one covers 63 yards in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. A 35-yarder by Bryan that he adds to his 45, 42, and 51-yarders previous. And the lead now is but 3 points. And Ram fans sound a little anxious.
A little quiet here in Ramville. I see that Dean Kleinschmidt's overlooking at Andres Hastings' shoulder, where he had to lay out and catch that last ball. Saints can ill afford to lose Andre Hastings right now. It's in there anyway.
Let's see what Bryan does here on the kickoff. He's going to squib it even shorter this time. It'll be taken by one of the up men of the Rams, who will fall on it immediately. One of the linemen, Andy McCullum, a former Saint, falling on the football and stopping the clock with 5 seconds remaining. Do you take a shot at the end zone here?
No doubt about it. Doesn't cost you anything. The Saints have been burned by 2 Hail Marys to this point. You feel like you have Andre Bruce, a great receiver. You got Kurt Warner, who's got lots of confidence. You just wonder if Dick Vermeil went out and just called it off, because he just walked out towards the field. I don't know if he did or not, but I would, if knowing the history of the Saints and their lack of luck. No, they're not going to. They have Andre Bruce lined up in the back, and they're just going to take a knee and go in at halftime.
And Ram fans of an 8-2 football team, boo the decision of the head coach who takes his team to the locker room leading by 3. The Saints came into this game prior to the injury to Ricky Williams, a 14-point underdog. Right now, they trail by just 3. So it's the Rams 15 and the Saints 12 at halftime. Stay tuned. Where they'll run him this time, but for very little, perhaps a yard at most. It's going to bring up 3rd down. Scanina and Ray Agnew on the stop, the defensive tackles of the Rams.
This is very unusual for this defense. The rushing defenses for the Rams have been giving up just under 78 yards per game. And right now, the Saints seem to be doing whatever they want to do at this point.
3rd and 2 for the Saints from the Ram 37. Back split behind Hobart, who drops straight back, looks deep, throws, and it's caught for a first down by Poole. Inside the 20 as a late flag is thrown. Poole is brought down after an 18-yard gain as he hooked up in the middle of that zone defense of the Rams. Poole a bit shaken up on the tackle. We await the call. The Saints are pointing in the Rams' direction, and it is perhaps another blow to the face.
Contact, 21 on the defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
That was Dexter McLean, the right cornerback. So we mentioned how oftentimes the first drive of the second half sets the tone, and this has been an impressive drive for the Saints after they took in the opening kickoff of the second half. They have now held the football 4.5 minutes. And the drive has reached the 19-yard line of the Rams where it's first down. Saints trailing 15-12. Pitch goes to Wilmot Perry running right. He collides head-on with the linebacker Mike Jones, and Jones got the better of that collision.
Wow, Mike Jones comes running right in there. Now you want to talk about Wilmot Perry and his running. When you pitch him the ball outside, give him that ball inside, let him mash it up in there, because he doesn't have that speed to get around the corner. And he comes around there, he's standing nice and high. And I tell you what, he gets his feet gathered underneath him, waiting for the hit, and Mike Jones doesn't disappoint him. He lays him out.
Mike Jones has had touchdowns in 2 straight games. Former running back of Missouri. 2nd and 10, New Orleans from the Ram 19. Cleveland goes in motion. Backs are in an eye. The pitch goes to Lamar Smith, running behind the block of Troy Davis, and he tiptoes up to the line of scrimmage and is barely able to get there, and might get a yard on the carry. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
Join us weeknights at 6:15 for the latest on the Saints here on News Talk and Sports Radio 870 AM.
Linebacker Todd Collins on the stop, officially no gain, and that's, I think, where you see the difference between Lamar Smith and Ricky Williams. Williams runs with so much more decision.
Yes, with no tippy-toe. Once he makes his move that he's going outside, and he'll lower the boom and run over a defensive back.
3rd and 10 from the 19-yard line. Hobart drops straight back, is protected, throws, and it's caught by Cleveland inside the 10, and he's down to about the 6-yard line. Tegee Allen brings him down after a 14-yard gain, and it's 1st and goal for the Saints.
Well, that's where Cam Cleveland is so dangerous, and where the Saints have missed him when he's been out of the game. They take Cam Cleveland and they just get him out a little bit wider where they can't cover him with their linebacker, and the defensive backs are so much smaller. Cam Cleveland gets in there, and he's a great athlete. He can catch that ball, but it's keeping him healthy and keeping him in the game.
He's got 3 for 32. Saints trying to put it in the end zone for the first time today. 1st and goal from the 7. Saints trail 15-12, 3rd quarter. Pitch goes to Smith, running left. Not much room, cuts it back, and perhaps gets a yard.
Well, they're trying to X-block there with Andre Hastings, and Big Willie Rowe can't get around the X-block. And once you throw off that timing, and then once the running back gets out in front of Willie, he can't do much to help him. So you're just leaving him one-on-one, and makes a nice move, able to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Give him a yard on the carry. It'll bring up 2nd and goal from the 6. Poole is split out wide to the left. Kennison wide right. Cleveland, the tight end, is set to the right side of the formation. Kennison goes in motion. Backs are offset. Play action. Rolling out to the right is Hobart, throwing back the other way, and it is caught, but no, pushed out of bounds, and he didn't come down with it anyway, was Kennison. He had it momentarily, but lost it as he came down, and he was out of bounds when he did.
Better coming back with that boot. And once they got Cam Cleveland back into the game and playing this week, they like to come back to that boot. This is a nice play. They get it set up. just can't make the catch. The ball is high, throw him where he had to throw it, but he can't come down with a ball and cuts it free.
He had a step or two.
Again, Billy Joe's doing a nice job of keeping that ball where it's supposed to be so that there are no turnovers.
3rd and goal now from the 6. 4 wide receivers, 2 to either side. Smith behind Hobart. 3-step drop. Hobart guns it to the near side for Henderson. Incomplete. He was just coming out of his break when the ball was whistling past his ear.
Well, he's got to get turned around. He's supposed to run out there. I don't know if Billy Joe got all the way back to 3 steps because that is definitely a timing route. Just going to throw the quick out right there. Cam Cleveland lines up in the wide, kind of in a wing position. He takes off, brings one of the backers with him. So Billy Joe just goes back to 3, turns and throws the ball. It needs to be a timing route, needs to be right there.
A 24-yard attempt by Doug Bryan as the Saints had it 1st and goal at the 7. Couldn't put it in the end zone. On comes Bryan once more. Snap is back, and Bryan doinks the upright, no good. He hit the left upright square in the middle. And there's a fight going on down at the line of scrimmage. Slutzker's involved in it, along with one of the linebackers of the Rams. But Bryan, who did from 52, 42, 45, and 35, comes on to miss his shortest attempt of the day from 24.
He could not have hit that upright any more square. He hits the ball about straight back onto the field of play.
He hooked it left and doinked the upright. And the officials now are going to try to sort out the altercation that appeared to occur after the play.
I think they're going to call it on London Fletcher for a late shot in the back. They could call it clipping, a lot of things, but neither the case. It was after the play was over, so it will be St. Louis's ball.
No, the Saints kicking team is still on the field, and Bryan is hoping against hope to get a chance at redemption.
Personal fouls after the missed field goal. Personal foul, 84 on the kicking team. Personal foul, number 54 on the receiving team. Penalties offset. Kickoff at the 30-yard line.
There's no kickoff. Somebody's got to tell them they missed the field goal.
Yes. Please tell them the field goal was missed. Although I think Doug Bryan is ready to take it right back to the 30 and kick it off. So there's a timeout on the field with 7:19 to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Rams continue to lead it by a score of 15-12. This is the New Orleans Saints radio network. It's a lonely Doug Bryan who sits disconsolately on the Saints bench, having missed a 24-yard field goal. The snap was good, the hold was good. He just simply pulled it and hit the left upright square in the middle. The Saints have taken the ball 68 yards in 16 plays and taken 7:41 off the 3rd quarter clock with a very impressive drive to open the 3rd quarter, but have nothing to show for it and continue to trail the Rams by a score of 15-12.
Disheartening to a point, but now that the defense can come back and shut him down, I think the Saints offense has the confidence it needs.
Rams will open with 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and Falk play action. Warner's going to throw in the direction of Bruce. Catch is made on the far sideline. Pushed out of bounds by Ashley Ambrose after a 17-yard gain just beyond the 36-yard line of the Rams. Bruce was pretty quiet in the first half. Only had 1 catch for 14 yards, and that's something I think you probably like to do right away to start a new half. Throw it to that guy and let him know that he's going to be more involved in the second half.
How they get back in that locker room and come out and now and say that we're going back to what gets us where we've been, you know, how we got here.
1st and 10 from the Ram 36. Movement along the line of scrimmage, and the Saints pour across. It looked like they were induced by Adam Timmerman. Here's a guy who was another one of those free agent acquisitions who's really helped this team.
Ball start, 62, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Warner is just 6 out of 16 for 67 yards. He's completed passes coming into this game to 13 different receivers and touchdown passes to 8 different ones. Hasn't found anybody that he can hook up with on a regular basis in this one thus far. 1st and 15 from the Ram 31. Backs offset, Bruce in motion. Saints are blitzing. They throw it out of the backfield of Falk, and he's forced out of bounds by Whitehead, who dropped off in coverage. It's just about a 2-yard gain short of the 33-yard line of the Rams. Falk has 2 catches for 13 yards, had 53 receptions coming into this game.
So they're trying to get back to what they know best, and I think that's to throw the ball to Falk, find Bruce downfield. But they're getting themselves in bad situations with penalties, and that's what happened at the end of the first half for the Rams, allowing actually the Saints to get into field goal position with 3 penalties in a row.
2nd and 13 from the 33. Hakeem in motion. Saints blitz again as Warner drops, has some time, throws it short to Hakeem, slips a tackle. He's got a lot of speed at midfield into Saints territory, and Weary makes a good open field tackle around the 49-yard line of New Orleans. That's a first down for Azahir Hakeem, an 18-yard reception. He only had 1 catch in the first half for 5 yards, so they're finding these guys now who are the integral parts of their offense.
Well, Alex Molden has him all wrapped up, and he's in good coverage position. He just misses the tackle. Hakeem just kind of coming over into motion, goes back inside, little slant. Alex Molden's got him right there. You just got to run through him, keep your head, wrap him up.
1st and 10 for the Rams from the Saint 49. Play action. Warner stops, looks to his left, going to throw it deep down the near sideline for Bruce. Bruce turns around and makes the catch. Great concentration on the ball for a 33-yard gain down to the 17-yard line of New Orleans.
You would think that ball was going to get intercepted, but Bruce was not in any kind of position to see the ball, to be able to turn around and make the move. It was kind of a wobbly duck just laying up in the air. But Isaac Bruce turns around. He's got that kind of ability. Everybody knows that. Questioned him a little bit last year. Had some problems, but he makes a nice catch right there on a not a real pretty throw.
1st and 10 for the Rams from the Saints 17. They lead it 15-12. Just over 4:40 to play in the 3rd quarter. Backs in an eye. The tailback Falk sheds a tackle. Now he scampers around and is able to pick up positive yardage down to around the 13-yard line. I think that was Whitehead that might have missed him in the backfield. A pickup of 4 yards by Falk.
Well, there's no doubt Willie Whitehead had him right there in sights. But Marshall Falk's made a lot of people miss in his career, and that's what he did exactly to Willie right there. Made a little miss, then cuts back, but good pursuit angles from the backside keeps him wrapped up inside there.
The former Carver High School star still has those quick feet. 2nd and 6 from the New Orleans 13. Bruce goes in motion, giving them 2 wide receivers to the right. Warner looks in that direction, going to throw it over the middle. The catch is made by Bruce, and he dives down to about the 6-yard line. A 7-yard pickup. Bruce in that, and there's a fight going on with Grady Smith. There's no surprise. And it looked to be Roland Williams, the tight end, who was blocking him. That's quickly broken up. Isaac Bruce is the kind of guy that, he's gonna get you as much as he can, but over the middle, he's gonna hit the deck as quickly as he can once he's made that reception.
Well, he's not stupid. He wants to play a long time in this league. He said, take what he can get and get down to the ground. We're gonna watch the replay. I think it was actually Pace and Smith going at it down there. I'm not gonna get to see it.
And it's 1st and goal from the 6-yard line for the Rams, who lead 15-12. Only 2 possessions in this 3rd quarter, a long one by the Saints that didn't result in any points, and now the Rams answering. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Falk behind Warner. Pump fake, gives it off to Falk, and Falk is in the end zone. He pumped the quick fake like he was going to throw it quickly to his left, gave it off on the delay to Falk. He found a crevice, and he found the end zone.
Well, he's a strong runner, Marshall Falk is right there. That was good. Some good play calling by the Rams coaching staff. Knew that the Saints were coming with pressure, and they brought it straight up the field. A little pump fake gets all the defensive backs to turn and look for the ball, and they just kind of stick it in there and give it to Marshall Falk.
He's got a 1-yarder and now a 6-yarder as he scored a pair of touchdowns. The extra point is provided by Wilkins. And the Rams, with an impressive drive, lengthen their lead. Our score now, with 3:08 to play in the 3rd quarter, is the Rams 22 and the Saints 12. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Bad things. They seem to be walking around. Nobody's really talking to each other. I will tell you one thing, though. Mike Ditka has spent several moments in the last few minutes or so talking very quietly with Billy Joe Hobart, something he's been doing. Same thing he did with Tolliver last week. So whether or not it helps, we'll see. Back upstairs to Jim.
Bilyaw from a yard deep in his end zone, back to the 10, slides down at the 15, can't get up before he's covered by a Ram after a 16-yard return, and touching him while he was down, James Hodgkins. And the Rams go on a very impressive 80-yard, 7-play drive, taking 4:09 off the third quarter clock. A timeout on the field with 2:58 to play here in quarter number 3. The Rams, Kurt Warner, 5 out of 5 for 75 yards, and Bruce Bob 3 for 47. There's a flag down as Grant Wistrom comes across before the ball is snapped.
I think Slutzker moved a little early.
Ball starts, 84, offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That won't help things. Do you see that Ram drive as a product of adjustments made at halftime?
I don't know, really. I think they went back to what they're normal. I think that's the normal drives that this Rams team is used to. In the first half, I don't think that they were doing any of their old stuff. I think they were trying new things and they weren't working. They went back to the basics.
First and 15 for the Saints from the 10. Ram fans smell blood in the water. Hobart scrambling with the football. He's going to take off and run, go down head first. Be hit at the 20-yard line, but doesn't appear to be any worse for wear after a 10-yard scramble.
It's hard to tell. He gets up a little bit like Earl Campbell, you know, just kind of slow getting up and getting back to the huddle. Every time he goes down and takes a hit like that, you wonder if it hurts him, but it looks like he's okay.
He's run it twice for 11 yards. Of course, this the scene of his torn Achilles tendon, which started him on the downhill spiral of injury, but intending to come back from that. On second down, Lamar Smith breaking free. Lamar Smith all the way up close to the 35-yard line. The ball comes free, but the official's going to rule down by contact. It'll remain in the Saints' possession after a 14-yard gain.
Ruling on the field, the runner was down by contact, first down.
We're going to watch it here on the replay and see if we can see. No doubt about it, he was definitely down when the ball popped out. Great run, get the Saints out of that hole, bring them out to almost the 35-yard line.
First and 10 from the 35-yard line. 1:43 to play in the third quarter on the delay. Smith is swarmed over by Agnew after he stepped out of the initial tackle to be a loss on the play.
But Kyle Turley completely misses his block there. He's trying to get things done. Kyle's trying to get some things done on inside, and he's having a little bit of trouble with Kevin Carter, who's a great pass rush guy so far this year, but plays the run just as well, and that's exactly what happened. He just kind of oversteps him. Kevin Carter goes inside, meets the running back right in the backfield.
Loss of 4, second and 14 from the Saint 31. 4 wide receivers. Hobart, 5-step drop. Looks to his right, throws down the near sideline for Slutzker. Badly overthrown and incomplete. Jenkins on the coverage. And you kind of got to wonder, don't you, why Slutzker's in there in place of Cleveland. When they do go to a 4 wide receiver set, one of them has been a tight end most recently, and that's Ben Cleveland, who's been making his presence felt. Slutzker's not the pass receiver that Cleveland is.
Well, there's no doubt about it, but I think Ditka wants to go with the guys who are practice. Keep him from getting in that habit. They're just skipping practice.
Third and 14 from the 31. 4 wide receivers. Rams showing blitz and coming. Hobart's going to loft it up to the near sideline for Kennison. Can't make a one-handed grab. Incomplete to Guy Allen on the coverage.
Well, they pick up the blitz. The protection was there, but they're in man coverage. Usually that's the way it is when you get a blitz, and they showed it, stayed in man. And Eddie Kennison just couldn't come up with a catch. It would have been a difficult catch at best, but he couldn't come up with it.
Well, you wonder if the Saints bench isn't so dormant because they remember a similar situation last week against Jacksonville, where they authored a really good first half effort, played them toe-to-toe, and then had nothing to offer in the second half defensively. Hakeem from his 18-yard line slips a tackle. The slippery little receiver is still going, and now he slides down short of the 35-yard line. Kendall Gammon had him down around the ankle and eventually helped trip him up. But it's a 15-yard return of a 52-yard punt and timeout on the field with 43 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Rams defense, they've got to keep this one within reach of a limited offense. First and 10 from the 33. Play action. Warner scrambles up in the pocket, delivers the football. Coming back to get it is Holt for the reception on the Saints side of midfield. Willie Clay brings him down, but not before the 20-yard reception gives the Rams a first down. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Interesting, entertaining, and fun. It's The Bob Show. Afternoons 4 till 6 on 870 AM.
We are bearing down on the end of quarter number 3. The Rams aren't inclined to run another play before the final 15 minutes, as they will take a 10-point lead into the fourth quarter. They're on top of the Saints by a score of 22-12. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. West in the 11th game. Rams head left to right as we view it as the fourth quarter begins. 1st and 10 from the New Orleans 47. Flag is thrown. This play is whistled dead. You know, the Rams came into this game first in red zone touchdown percentage, 23 of 31 times in the red zone. They had converted with a touchdown. That's 74%. And today they've been there twice and have 2 touchdowns. And that's got to be a product of the versatility of their offense. You just can't figure on one thing from this team when they're in the red zone.
No, they don't have just that go-to guy. They can run it in, they can throw it in, they can boot it in. They have huge tight ends. They have the backs coming out of the backfield, so they got a lot of weapons, especially when they get down in there tight.
After the 5-yard mark off against the Rams, it's 1st and 15. Pitch goes to Falk, sweeping left behind the block of Holcomb. He's back into Saints territory around the 48-yard line. Whitehead and Fields combine on the stop after a 5-yard gain. Falk has carried the ball 10 times for 36 yards and a pair of touchdowns, also a 2-point conversion. He's run it in from 1 and 6 and also has run it in for the 2-point conversion back in the second quarter. 2nd and 10 for the Rams from their original line of scrimmage, the Saint 47. Warner, play action, under some pressure from Fields. He steps up, delivers a pass that's low and at the feet of Bruce, incomplete. One thing Warner has not done well this game is throwing on the run.
No, I think that talking to some of the coaches before, they think that if you can make Kurt Warner go back and make him sit in that pocket at 5 yards and 7 yards instead of just having him throw those 3-step drops, that they really felt like he wasn't quite as productive. Now, in arena football, he was always very good at rolling out and throwing the ball, but today he has not shown that. He struggled when he's had to be on the run. He's thrown that ball short.
A free agent afterthought out of northern Iowa who might be the MVP this year. 3rd and 10 from the 47. He retreats, looks, throws underneath. The catch is made for the first down. This is Holt. Hangs off a tackler and is down to the 30-yard line. Holt was sandwiched around the 32 by Ambrose and Knight, and Ambrose is shaken up. A 17-yard gain and a first down. Ambrose is going to require some attention medically.
Well, there was a pocket pass right there. A little bit of pressure coming on him, and he feels it right at the end of the minute. And he stands in there and throws a complete strike, just a perfect strike. And Holt makes a big catch. Knight missing a couple of guys. Ashley comes up and just kind of trips him up. Otherwise, Holt's going a long ways. Right now, they're looking at Ashley Ambrose's right high ankle. You know, it's not down in there low, but it's up between the knee and the shin and the ankle.
So the Saints' best defensive back shaken up for the moment. We'll take the timeout with 13 from the Rockin' Horse game room at the Gretna finish line. They're retaping the right ankle of Ashley Ambrose, who limped off the field. Replaced by Tyrone Drakeford at the moment. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line of the Saints are the Rams. And Drakeford is split out with Isaac Bruce, and that's right where they go. Incomplete, and a flag is thrown. Now that's good recognition on the part of the Rams offense.
No doubt about it. That's what they wanted to do. He's the only wide receiver out there. Got him singled up. Getting beat, he had to reach out and grab him.
And it's a pass interference.
22 defense. First down.
Tyrone Drakeford hasn't played much since his early season difficulties and a bit of a problem with a shoulder. And he has to replace Ashley Ambrose. They single Isaac Bruce against him, and he has to hold Bruce quite clearly and grab his jersey to keep up with him. 1st and 10 on the penalty from the 20-yard line of the Saints. 13:39 to play fourth quarter. 22-12 our score. Rams in control. Here's Falk running left through the tackle of Fields down to around the 13-yard line. Give him 7 yards on the carry. Brought down by Keith Mitchell. Officially a 6-yard gain.
Well, this looks more like the offense that we'd heard so much about. Just ball control, little dunks, little passes, an efficient quarterback who could throw completions and get the ball down inside there. Once they get inside the 10, pretty good chance they're going to score. They have a great red zone offense, but they have so many weapons, as you mentioned earlier.
They're back in that red zone now with the ball at the 14-yard line. Warner retreats, going to throw it down to around the 8, and it's Bruce diving down to around the 3. And again, they're working on Drakeford, singling Bruce against him, completing the pass. Drakeford makes the tackle, and it's 1st and goal for the Rams at the 3-yard line.
Tyrone Drakeford starts out, and he's giving him about an 8-yard cushion. And Isaac Bruce coming up in there, and 8 yards doesn't sound like much, but when you're at the 12, that's a huge cushion. Now we'll have to see how tight they play him now that the ball rests at about the 3.
1st and goal. Wideouts left and right. Bruce comes in motion left to right. The tailback is Falk. Holcomb is the fullback. Holcomb gets the call. Holcomb bangs over tacklers. He's in for the touchdown. A 3-yard touchdown by Holcomb. And again, the product of this Ram offense that is so diverse and has so many weapons.
That Ram offensive line, they just take Leroy Glover, who I think is an outstanding football player, and they double team him all the way back into the end zone. There's no way you can make a tackle when you're getting backed up into the end zone. That's exactly what happens right there. And then you got the big fullback Holcomb just running in behind him.
Wilkins for the extra point, and the Rams seemingly have broken this one open against a very limited Saints offense. Timeout on the field in the fourth quarter. The Rams have stretched their lead to 29.
Avita Springs Water Saints sideline report with Kenny Wilkerson. Kenny, go ahead.
All right, Stan, you said that they retaped Ashley Ambrose's ankle. That's exactly what they did, a sprained right ankle. He'll be back on the field next time the defense takes the field. I'll send it back upstairs to you, Jim and Stan.
But defense is really no longer a concern of this Saints football team. It's the offense that'll have to go to work as they trail the Rams by 17 points. The Rams now have been in the red zone this year 34 times, and 26 times have come away with touchdowns, 87%. That's remarkable. Phil Yaw from about his own 2-yard line, back across the 20, running to the far sideline, pushed out of bounds at the 30-yard line of New Orleans. A 28-yard return, a timeout on the field, 12:04 to play fourth quarter, and it's the Rams 29 and the Saints 12. This is the new drive of the third quarter, and they've not had much since. Here's Hobart throwing to Hastings on the near sideline, makes a move on the linebacker, and is pushed out of bounds after an 8-yard gain around the 37-yard line of the Rams.
Here's the Napa $25,000 kickoff for cash NFL scoreboard. These are all fourth quarter scores. Baltimore over Jacksonville right now, 16-7. Buffalo beating the Patriots 17-0. Tennessee over Cleveland, 26-4. Minnesota now over San Diego, 35-24. And I'll get to the rest of these scores after Jim calls this next fabulous play.
Second of the Rams. And there you see, and Cleveland is slow to get up, but there you see the evidence of how much this guy has been missed in this offense. With very few weapons out there, boy, they could have used a healthy Cam Cleveland all year long, couldn't they?
No, there's no doubt about it, but now yard. I got to give him that. I'm not a big fan of coming out of the game after you make a play, but he hit that turf pretty good.
He's caught 4 for 56 yards. He's a woozy tight end who's helped to the Saint bench. A 24-yard gain, 1st and 10 New Orleans from the Ram 39. 4 wide receivers. Smith behind Hobart. Hobart trying to change the play here as the play clock winds down. Smith behind him can't get the play himself. He has to come up to hear it directly from Hobart. Now Hobart drops, looks, throws it deep down the near sideline for Poole. Jump ball at the 2, incomplete. Dre Bly on the coverage, and the ball was a bit underthrown.
Well, there's no doubt about it. That's exactly what he wanted. He wanted that one-on-one, but you got to get that ball. You got to get some air underneath that ball because Poole's got him beat. You just got to get some more air under it. Jim, let me finish up these scores, fourth quarter scores. Arizona beating the Giants right now, 20-10. Cincinnati beating Pittsburgh 27-20, and Washington now leads Philadelphia 17-0. All those fourth quarter scores. I'm sorry, 17-10. All those fourth quarter scores.
2nd and 10 now for the Saints from the Ram 39. Hobert, 3-step drop. Going to throw the quick hitch to Kennison, who goes down and gets it at the 35-yard line. That'll be about 6 yards short of the first down.
Well, Jim, let's take a Beta Springs Water Saints sideline report with Kenny Wilkerson. Kenny, go ahead.
All right, Sam, I think you'll see Cam Cleland back in the game any time now. They checked him out, checked his vision. There's nothing wrong with his neck. Has all his feelings and his extremities and everything like that. And he got up shaking his head. Everybody put his helmet back on. Looks like he ought to be coming back in any time now. Back upstairs to you guys.
Kennison, in his return to St. Louis, has caught 5 for 34 yards. 3rd and 6 from the Ram 35. You can hear the noise here in the Trans World Dome with over 60,000 fans on hand. Hobert, 3-step drop. Looks, throws, delivers, picked. Intercepted at the 25-yard line by McLean. And Hobert gives it away for the first time today.
Yeah, not a good throw right there. And you can see Billy Joe just going back on his ankles. Back on his heels, and he just throws that ball, lofts it up there, takes an interception. First bad pass he's had today.
And we've got a timeout on the field with 10:08 to play in the fourth quarter, and the Rams in control, 29-12. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network Dome, where the St. Louis Rams have scored a pair of unanswered touchdowns in the second half to take a 29-12 lead, and have just intercepted Billy Joe Hobert for the first time. They'll be trying to run some of the final 10 minutes and 8 seconds left on the fourth quarter clock and protect this 17-point lead. Kurt Warner, who's gotten a good deal sharper in the second half, hands off to Falk, sweeping left, sheds a tackler. He's across the 35, across the 40 to the 41-yard line. 1st and 10. Rams after a 17-yard Marshall Falk scamper. Willie Clay on the tackle. Brady Smith had missed him as he turned the left side. Well, you think there's some concern in Pittsburgh where the Steelers have been trailing the Bengals. Mike Tomczak is in there now. We don't know if Cordell Stewart has been yanked or injured, but they're trailing the Bengals who've only won one game. The Steelers coming in at 5-5, having already lost to the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh. The Jaguars have come back to take the lead over the Ravens. On 1st down, Warner looks to throw. Lots of time, dumps it off underneath to Holcomb. Holcomb brought down as he gets into Saints territory to the 49-yard line. Close to a 1st down, might have it. And now you see the Saints defense being a bit discouraged, and we've seen this before. They've spent a lot of time on the field for the most part in the second half, and they realize their offense is not going to get them any touchdowns.
They played very well in the first half, both offensively and defensively. Never get anything in the end zone. And remember, Dick Vermeil, he left those starters in the whole time, and all of his blowouts talked about it this week, that he just wants to keep them in there, and the points could make a difference.
1st and 10 from the 49. Warner's going to throw it long in the direction of Bruce, and it's incomplete. Ambrose had him well covered, and Ambrose almost had the interception.
Well, Ashley has that ball come down and hit him right in the hands. These are the type of plays that you have to make. We saw Fred Weary drop one in the end zone last week right before the half, which ended up costing the Saints 3 points and allowed Jacksonville to tie the game up right before the half. And here Ashley Ambrose is in good position, has an opportunity to catch that ball. These are the ones that you just have to have if you're going to turn things around when they are kind of sour, and they are right now for the Saints, but you just have to make those plays, concentrate on them. Ashley Ambrose has been having a good season, not down on him at all, but got to have those plays.
There's been only one turnover in this game, that the interception by the Rams. Here's Falk weaving his way through the Saints secondary inside the 40-yard line. 10-yard pickup for Marshall Falk, perhaps just short of that. And the Rams now are +6 in turnover differential. The Saints fall to -2 on the interception by McLean that began this drive. We may need a measurement here with 8:22 to play in the fourth quarter. Falk has carried 13 times for 68 yards unofficially, and they bring in the chains from the near sideline.
Had him shut down and roped up pretty good in that first half, but this is a situation that the Rams are now getting used to, being ahead and being able just to come in and smash the ball, forcing the other team, their opponent, whoever it is, having to come out and throw the ball in the second half to try and catch up. And that's why their statistics are where they are. They've had those leads and had the ability to run, but they have Marshall Faulk, who's doing a nice job. And it's a huge offensive line, really. Jacksonville probably has the best offensive line that I've seen play, but this is a pretty darn good offensive line playing right here today for St. Louis.
3rd and a short 1 from the New Orleans 39. 2 tight ends, both set to the right side of the formation. One being a wingback, backs in an eye. They put Williams in motion from his wingback position. Hand it off to Faulk in that direction, and Marshall Faulk with second effort has the first down. Well, you mentioned it prior to the game, Stan. All the weapons these guys have, I don't think their tight ends have a catch today, but they're so huge in the running game. It's like playing another tackle or guard out there.
Well, they're enormous. Williams is 6'5". He's about 270 pounds. Big, their starting tight end, Williams. And then Robinson, he's a little bit shorter. He's 6'4", but here this guy is, he's about 275 pounds as well. Just huge guys. You get them out there on the corners, whether you bring a linebacker up on, outside or not, they're run blockers. And you're right, I don't think they have any catches for today. These guys are in this game for one reason, and that's to control the line of scrimmage.
Fred Weary limps off. And there's been some attrition in that Saints secondary. Ambrose has come back from an ankle injury, and Tyrone Drakeford is in there once more. 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line of the Saints. They pitch it out to Faulk. Lots of running room around the left side. Inside the 25, down to the 20-yard line. Another nicely designed play. It's like these guys never run out of plays, and that's been a problem with the Saints offense in the second halves of football games. It's like they never show you anything new.
Well, they just got to... These guys who just have so many weapons that they can get things done. They're just going to start with a little counter play. They fake the dive off to the right-hand side. And while Marshall Faulk is just standing there and Brady Smith trying to chase it down from the backside, being over-aggressive, they just pitch the ball and automatically Faulk's around the corner.
And the clock is inside 6:45 to play. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line of the Saints. 29-12 the score. Rams on top after dominating the second half. Warner's going to throw it for the end zone. He's got a receiver, and it's going to be a touchdown to Holt, his second of the day. A 20-yard touchdown strike to Torrey Holt, who opened the game with a 25-yarder.
Well, it's hard to say. If Willie Clay was supposed to come over the top, Tyrone Drakeford, they're both kind of standing there. And actually what happens is he just gets in between the two of them. And Holt has the ability just to get right in between the two. Kurt Warner sees him, throws a strike right there. Neither one of the defenders come up and make a play. There's going to be some pressure on the play by Wayne Martin, but Holt is in the end zone when this ball touches him.
And it's his 4th touchdown of the season. The extra point by Wilkins. The lead extended by the Rams with 6:36 to play. The score is now St. Louis 36 and New Orleans 12. Wilkins to kick it off as the Rams looking to extend their unbeaten streak at home this season to 6, and their unbeaten streak against the NFC West from the 8-yard line. Phil Yaw up to the 32 as a late flag is thrown. A 24-yard return, but the flag probably will go against New Orleans. You know, last week, this game is so reminiscent. You're facing the best team in the AFC last week in Jacksonville and the best team in the NFC this week.
Holding 52 on the return team.
In the Rams. Last week it was 17-17 at halftime, and then the Jaguars broke it open, winning 41-23, essentially 24 unanswered points until a late touchdown that was meaningless by the Saints late in that game. This game, the Rams led 15-12 at halftime. Now it's 36-12, and they have scored 21 unanswered points in the second half.
Is it the lack of adjustment that the Saints are making? Are the opponents making more adjustments? You kind of have to wonder, or is it just a letdown? Do you not have the tools or the people to just be able to line up and play a full game?
I would say the last opinion is the one I think is most accurate. It's just a deficiency in the talent level that eventually catches up with them. On 1st and 10, Hobart throws underneath. Hastings with another catch. He's hit immediately at the 25-yard line by Clemens for a 6-yard gain. It's just, you're going down and you're getting field goals instead of touchdowns. They're coming down and scoring touchdowns for the most part instead of field goals, and the Saints just don't have any weapons as they start to fall behind to get back into a game quickly. On a shovel pass, Lamar Smith is going to need a block from Hobart. Hobart is going to throw one, and he's back to the 30, up to the 32, to the 34-yard line is Lamar Smith. And again, there's Hobart sticking his head in and throwing a block in front of a play in which the running back is trying to turn the corner behind him.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like the Saints, especially when they get Cam Cleveland over on that outside, he's not blocking like he was last year. Last year I thought he was a very dominating blocker. This year it doesn't seem like he has his heart into it. He wants to catch the ball, but struggling in the running game a little bit.
1st and 10 from the Saint 34. Hobart guns it downfield in the direction of Cleveland, underthrown and incomplete. The coverage by Billy Jenkins.
That team just seems to be struggling. You can kind of feel the wind go out. I say you look over on the bench, guys are sitting down. And like Kenny Wilkerson was reporting earlier, there was never any hype or anything over on the bench. They came out last week and played very well against Jacksonville. Looked like they were in this game early against St. Louis. And now they just kind of have petered out and slowed down. There's no emotion to carry you anywhere.
2nd and 10 from the 34. 3 wide receivers bunched to the top of the field. Hobart retreats, throws, overthrows, and it's Clemens who'll pick it off from his linebacker position, handing it off to McLean, and McLean is forced out of bounds at the 28-yard line, and that's the 2nd interception in 2 series of Hobart.
Yeah, not a good throw by Billy Joe. He had time, not a lot of pressure on him. He's trying to throw that ball in the middle. If there's one place you don't want to throw it high, it's in the middle of the field. He goes down, and he's looking right there. He's got completion written all over it. He can throw the ball. He just gets away from him. He's a little bit gun-shy, actually, because when he's going to throw that ball, you watch him, he's kind of ducking and falling out of there. Not a very good throw by Billy Joe right there. And this is completely different than what we saw in the first half. Everything was almost borderline conservative. Little dunks here, little dinks there, run the ball, kind of get things going. Now they're throwing it over the middle, trying to wait deep. No more 3-step drops.
And so the Rams continue to employ their regulars, 1st and 10. And Falk runs it right side. Ambrose brings him down around the 23-yard line. A 6-yard gain for Falk, and that unofficially puts him over the 100-yard mark. That's 104 yards unofficially for Marshall Falk on 16 carries. Well, some disturbing trends will continue for the Saints in this game. They will now be 0-6, trailing after the first quarter, and they will now be 0-7 when an opponent rushes for 100 yards against them. And that probably speaks to the failure of a team that has comeback capabilities with weapons. 2nd and 4 from the 22. Pitch it to Falk, runs left, cuts it back again, and he's finally brought down on an ankle-high tackle by Sammy Knight. But a first down for the Rams nonetheless. They're keeping it on the ground, running some clock, which now shows 4:13 and counting. Falk has 109 yards now on 17 carries.
Well, Dick Vermeil got some criticism this last week about leaving his starters in there and letting them just sit there and run the score up. And he says, I'm not running the score up. I'm leaving those guys in there because after our 2 losses, there's no telling what could happen. He wants to put points on the board, and he said he likes seeing his guys out there still getting the work.
Danny Werfel warms up on the far sideline as Falk gets another opportunity. Jumping over the Saint tacklers, he's stacked up inside the 15-yard line. And that's going to be a 3-yard gain. The Rams have never hosted a playoff game here in St. Louis as Falk comes to the sideline. Previous to that, the Cardinals never did. They're going to get that opportunity this year, it would appear, and perhaps throughout the playoffs with the home field advantage. Falk comes to the sideline, and James Hodgins comes in. A rookie out of San Jose State. He will be the fullback, and they'll move Holcomb back to tailback. 2nd and 7 from the 14. Holcomb gets the call. Holcomb bangs down inside the 10 to the 9. And you spoke about the lack of emotion on the Saints bench. To me, that bespeaks a football team that doesn't think it has a chance to win.
No, you don't. You wonder. Are some of the coaches starting now? Look at, they're bringing the Kurt Warner out. Some of the linemen are coming out. They're going to get some other guys some playing time. You wonder, are the coaches starting to wonder, are we going to be the ones that are getting fired? Are we going to get changed? So there's a lot of things going on that Saints sideline right now, that both from the player standpoint and the coach's standpoint.
And a new quarterback comes in. It's Paul Justin, who replaces Warner. On 3rd and 2 from the 9, handed off to the fullback, and he's stacked up after no gain. That's James Hodgins. And now there's a fight breaking out and flags being thrown. Leroy Glover was in the middle of it, along with Mike Grudadoria, the center. But order is restored after flags are thrown. Well, it's a discouraging situation, no doubt. I mean, here you're looking at a Ram team that was worse off than the Saints a year ago.
No doubt about it, and they didn't really make any changes. Dick Corey retired. The offensive line coach, White, he got him retired and got out of there.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 97. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
One big change they made, though, was bringing in Mike Martz as their offensive coordinator.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now everybody seems to like him and the way that he's getting things run. And now I think that the New Orleans Saints are going to get compared to the Rams, and everybody out there who's struggled this year are going to say, well, the Rams did it in 1 year, but I don't think that that's really fair, because if you think about it, they brought in Trent Green thinking that he was going to be their savior. He got hurt, ended up actually starting what was, I don't know, kind of a fluke in Kurt Warner, and he comes out and lights up the NFL. So I don't think everybody can be compared to the situation that's here in St. Louis right now.
1st and goal from the 4. Holcomb straight ahead to about the 3. As we have come down to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes remain in this game that has been controlled by the Rams in the second half as they lead by a score of 36-12. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Napa, $25,000 kickoff for cash NFL scoreboard. If I can get through some of these, the final, Buffalo beat the Patriots 17-7. Philadelphia, Washington beats Philadelphia in overtime 20-17. I'll get to some of these other scores after this play.
2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. One wide receiver. Backs in an eye. Justin's going to give it to the fullback Hodgins down to about the 1-yard line. And it'll be 3rd and goal. Go ahead,
These
Stan.
other scores are fourth quarter scores. Cincinnati now leading Pittsburgh 27-20. Arizona over the Giants 27-17. Minnesota over San Diego 35-27. Tennessee 33. Cleveland 14. And Baltimore now has taken the lead 23-22 over Jacksonville. Those are fourth quarter scores.
Baltimore, which lost a narrow 6-3 game to Jacksonville a couple of weeks ago, playing them for the second time in 3 weeks. The Saints will do that with the Rams after taking on the Falcons next week. 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Same play, same call, different result. Touchdown Rams, a 1-yard plunge by James Hodgins, and the Rams extend their lead. And for the second week in a row, the Saints will have given up more than 40 points. But that's not totally attributable to the defense. It's also attributable to an offense that can't help you out in the second half and turns the ball over.
And special teams as well. Yep. The kickoff cover team gave up some huge returns early in that first half, leading to the first Rams score.
On comes Jeff Wilkins for the extra point, and with 1:14 to play, our score is now the Rams 43 and the Saints 12.
Yeah, where do you go though, Jim? Where do you do now? You still have games to play. You got a group of guys that you got to get lined up and play. I mean, this is probably the most difficult task that Mike Ditka and his coaching staff are going to face in a long time. You got some of the coaches that are going to be worried about their jobs at the end of the season. You know that there's just not a lot of security as an assistant coach. If the head coach is going to make a change, then he's going to make a change, and you wonder if those changes are the right moves. Is there going to be a change at the general manager position, for that matter? You know, player personnel, there's a lot of things that are going through a lot of people's head right now with some football left to be played.
Well, a lot of things need to be changed, obviously. How many can or will be changed are the two questions that only the future can answer.
Yeah, and you have to make sure that you're not making changes just to the fact of making a change. They have to be calculated, and they have to be a change that is for the good of the team and the good of the community. But the program right now is run down a little bit. They're questioning a lot of things, the players, the draft, the coaching. So there's a lot of things need to be changed. Just want to make them the right moves.
Here's the kickoff by Wilkins. Phil Yaw, who's been a busy young man, feels it at his 7, back to the 20, 25. Stopped just short of the 30-yard line, and another flag is thrown late.
They should throw him out of the game. I saw it. If I can pick out his number right there, he took a swing, a full swing, and I think it's. I don't have it.
One of those guys in the blue and yellow down there.
Yeah, those dirty guys.
They're trying to figure it out, too.
I thought it was 43, but there's no 43 on their roster.
Well, they're going to tell us here momentarily if they can't figure
There's
it out.
no foul on the play. First down.
Oh, that's horrible. I can't believe that they didn't call.
They probably couldn't figure out what number it was either.
They probably just said, forget it. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Well, that's too bad.
So the flag is picked up, and Danny Werfel making his second appearance as a Saint quarterback, and he comes in with 1:09 to play, and the Saints trailing by 31 points.
And they're going to have him in shotgun.
With Wilmot Perry alongside. Werfel 0 for 1 on the season passing, is now 1 for 2 as he dumps it off to Perry. Wilmot Perry runs to the sideline and gets out of bounds at the 40-yard line, an 11-yard gain and a first down.
Well, a minute and 2 to go, and I can understand them wanting to get Danny some time if he's going to get out there and play any, but let him just run a normal offense. Don't make him go out there and try and run the comeback offense when you're down by so much with just a little over a minute to play.
And, all this will do, he's going to run up a few statistics here, and all it will do is have people calling for him to start next week as the savior against the Falcons. That pass is dropped by Cleland up at midfield. So maybe his statistics won't be that good.
Yeah, right. You would hope that his statistics would climb. I think there's a lot of things that have to be done, and they have to be done now. You can't wait till the end of the season right now to get them done. It's just some things that need to start be working on right now, the preparation for when this season's over, so that you're ready to make those changes and know what direction you want to go. Things should probably be addressed at this point.
2nd and 10 from the New Orleans 40 from the shotgun. Werfel throws. That catch is made by Cleland, and he stays inbounds after a 7-yard reception up to the 48-yard line of New Orleans. But how much can be done? And you've looked at almost everybody who's out there short of a Jake Delhomme, and believe me, there'll be people calling for him as well this week.
I don't doubt it. I think you have to.
On 3rd and 2 from the 48, again, it's dumped off over the middle, and this time Wilmot Perry drops the ball with 30 seconds remaining.
I'm not saying that things need to be done right now, but the preparation needs to be done with inside the organization. Mr. Benson has to meet with Billy Q. Herrick, who has to meet with Coach Ditka, and they have to have a plan of attack that when this season is over, this is what we're going to do. This isn't something that you can make a spur-of-the-moment decision. They all have to be put together. Everything has to be put together right now.
Yeah, but what if 2 of those 3 people aren't involved after this season?
Well, then the decisions still have to be made. Something has to be changed.
Well, the clock is stopped with 22 seconds remaining as the Saints call timeout after a Perry 5-yard run, and the fans here who want to celebrate this victory and look ahead to tonight's game. Not a whole lot of people nationally are going to be real enthralled in watching the Falcons take on the Panthers tonight on ESPN, a 2-8 team against a 4-6 team, with the exception of Ram fans here, because with this victory and a Panther loss tonight, the Rams will have clinched the NFC West in the 11th game of the schedule. Only 2 other teams in NFL history in a 16-game season have ever done so, one of them being the 1985 Bears of Mike Ditka. 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line of the Rams. Werfel in the shotgun. Can't find anybody. Rolls to his right. Throws on the run. He hits Wilmot Perry in the foot with it. Incomplete. And the clock shows 17 seconds remaining.
Well, the Rams owner, I wonder how often she was down on that sideline last year, but she's down there hugging all the players and the coaches and seems to be fairly excited about it. Georgia Frontier. What a difference a year makes, huh?
Oh, boy. Doesn't it ever? Last year, this was a 4-12 Ram team on its way to being the losingest franchise in the NFL, losingest team in the 90s. Here's Werfel going to throw a deep sideline about 6 yards wide of Eddie Kennison and incomplete, and there are 12 seconds remaining. And the fans, those who remain, with the derisive cheer of Eddie, Eddie. He was not too popular about the time that he departed here.
No, he wasn't. Came in here, had a great first year, rookie year, played very well, and his production has dropped off, struggled. He left. Coach Vermeil knew what he had, liked him as a person, but just thought he needed a change.
On 3rd and 10 from the 47, they run Perry on the draw play for about a yard, and that's the final play of this game. And the Rams have run their record to 9-2. The Saints have fallen to 2-9. A dominant performance by the home team in the second half as they continue to be unbeaten here in the TWA Dome, winning today by a score of 43-12.
Point after, Buddy Diliberto at the Rocket Horse game room with the gut in the finish line. Well, how bad is bad? When you catch a good football team flat, like the Saints caught the St. Louis Rams today, and still managed to lose by 31 points, 43-12. That's pretty close to being the bottom of the barrel bad. The Rams were ripe to be plucked today. They came out without much emotion, looking very much the role played by a complacent football team. And that wasn't unusual. Teams like the Saints are likely to catch opponents with that smug, complacent attitude down the stretch. This happened several times in the second half of the 1995 season, and the owner, Tom Benson, took it to mean the Saints were actually making a move down the stretch. Obviously, that was a false read by the owner. Can Benson possibly make another false read again in 99? Or will he finally understand what is taking place? Meanwhile, the Saints are giving unmistakable signs of being a deeply troubled football team, a team that apparently there's a split in the coaching staff. There appears to be coming apart at the seams in many respects. All the signs of a troubled organization, and there's no other way to put it, and basically it's crying to have a strong football man be brought in to make all of decisions near the end of the season and immediately after the season and into the next year for this organization. Cosmetic changes of coordinators and things like that, that is not going to be enough. Only Tom Benson, though, can make those changes. And right now, as much as you don't want to pull against the New Orleans Saints, games like today almost have to be a benefit in the long run unless the owner is playing deaf, dumb, and blind. We're going to continue with the point after live from the Rocket Horse game room. That's the squirrel calls. When we get them, we'll use the squirrel call. We also got Dinger, the squirrel here. We can put a earset on him if necessary. Let's go to Ken in New Orleans East. Ken, you're on the point after.
Yeah, how you doing?
All right.
Well, guess what? I got some more bad news for you.
What?
Cincinnati won today. That means Cincinnati and Cleveland is tied with the Saints. You know what that means?
I know what it means.
That means that they play each other, which means one of those teams is going to have 3 victories.
Yeah, I know that.
There's a strong possibility that the Saints will have the first pick in the draft.
Oh, I thought you were going to call with suggestions of how the Saints can improve their organization.
Well, yeah, that takes time. But my point is this: the Ricky Williams drafting and giving up the draft choices may turn out to be the worst deal in the history of professional sports in New Orleans.